Imagine waking up in a world where nothing you see is real, where every smile is engineered, every face sculpted by invisible hands, and even the most familiar figures feel like strangers. This isn't science fiction, it's the reality we live in, and it's unraveling faster than we ever imagined. Today, we pull back the curtain on a story that isn't just about a celebrity. It's about a culture in crisis, about the fragile line between admiration and illusion. What if beauty itself had become a vanishing act? What if the faces we once recognized, the icons we once admired, were slowly dissolving into hollow reflections, perfect, polished, but empty? In a world where every wrinkle is erased, every curve refined, every flaw hidden, are we losing more than just authenticity? Are we losing ourselves? Today, we uncover not just a scandal, but a symptom. A mirror held up to a culture at war with reality. One of the most recognizable faces in pop culture is once again unrecognizable. That beneath the flawless filters and glamorous edits lies a deeper crisis. One that goes beyond a single photo and touches the heart of how we view ourselves today. This isn't just a story about pixels or perfection. It's about the fragile relationship between identity and illusion in the modern world. Today, we uncover the truth behind Khloé Kardashian's latest Photoshop scandal, how it erupted, why it matters, and what it reveals about our growing war with authenticity in the age of social media. This isn't just about one photo, it's about all of us, about the silent pressures that shape how we see ourselves, and about the invisible standards we chase without even realizing it. In early 2025, Khloé Kardashian launched Khloé in Wonderland, a dreamy campaign meant to capture fantasy, elegance, and an escape from the mundane. A whimsical vision of beauty, dripping in luxury and wonder. Yet when the first promotional photo dropped, Reddit and Twitter erupted almost instantly. Fans and critics alike flooded the comments with a single question: who is this woman? Her features appeared dramatically altered, skin smoothed to plastic perfection, jawline unnaturally sharp, cheekbones suspiciously lifted, and eyes widened in a way that barely resembled her real-life appearance. Even her hands, often overlooked, looked oddly synthetic. It didn't take long before side-by-side comparisons with her public appearances started circulating. And it was undeniable. The woman in the photos was not the woman the world had come to know. This wasn't Khloé's first Photoshop controversy. Far from it. Over the years, she's been at the center of similar storms, each time sparking louder, more impassioned conversations about the unrealistic beauty standards celebrities often perpetuate. But this time felt different. This time, the public's patience was thinner. The cultural climate had shifted. Back in 2021, Khloé accidentally posted an unedited bikini photo that went viral. It was natural, candid, raw, and stunning. Yet her team scrambled to scrub the image from the internet, citing copyright violation. A move that, ironically, only confirmed fans' suspicions about how carefully curated celebrity images really are. What could have been a triumphant moment of vulnerability was instead transformed into a PR nightmare. And now, in 2025, history seemed to be repeating itself, but with even greater consequences. As the new Khloé in Wonderland photo circled Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and beyond, the backlash grew fiercer. Users accused Khloé of promoting unattainable beauty ideals at a time when audiences are desperately crying out for honesty, for realness, for someone to say, "This is me, flaws and all." The bigger conflict, however, wasn't really about Khloé. It reflected a deeper, systemic tension. The growing war between digital perfection and human reality. A war that each of us, whether consciously or not, participates in every single day. According to a 2024 study by the American Psychological Association, 64% of young women report that social media images contribute significantly to their feelings of inadequacy and low self-esteem. Apps like FaceTune, Photoshop, and AI editing software, once the domain of professional photographers and magazine editors, are now seamlessly woven into everyday life. With a tap and a swipe, you can erase a wrinkle, thin your waist, brighten your eyes, or reshape your nose. You can transform yourself into someone who barely exists. And in doing so, you create a mask. A mask so convincing, even you begin to believe it. If Khloé, with her fame, wealth, access to the best trainers, surgeons, stylists, and wellness experts, still feels compelled to edit her image beyond recognition, what chance does the average person have? What does it say about the collective psyche of a culture so obsessed with perfection that even the privileged are prisoners to it? The climax of this latest scandal hit when professional photographers and digital experts analyzed the Khloé in Wonderland photos. They pointed out warped backgrounds, a classic giveaway of rushed Photoshop jobs, and impossibly smooth textures that no human skin could ever naturally possess. Major outlets like BuzzFeed, Cosmopolitan, and The Cut ran headlines asking if celebrity culture had become too filtered to function. Commentators debated whether celebrities like Khloé were victims or perpetrators of this toxic cycle. Was she a symptom of the disease or part of its cause? Khloé herself remained silent at first. No public statement, no explanation, no apology, just silence. And that silence only fueled more anger. It echoed a larger frustration with an entertainment industry that often refuses to take accountability until forced. What if, instead of silence, celebrities like Khloé openly embraced imperfections? What if they showed the world their stretch marks, their uneven skin, their scars, and their stories? Would they lose their status, their influence, or would they redefine beauty itself? Could they become pioneers of a movement where authenticity was not just tolerated, but celebrated? Eventually, sources close to Khloé hinted that the over-editing was not her fault, but rather the decision of the marketing team, a familiar Hollywood deflection that painted her as another victim of an industry obsessed with polished illusions. Yet by then, the damage was already done. The conversation had moved beyond Khloé's intentions. Audiences weren't just criticizing an image, they were rejecting an entire way of being. They were rejecting the lie. In 2024, 58% of Gen Z consumers reported unfollowing brands or influencers who heavily edited their photos, citing a preference for raw, unfiltered content. Authenticity wasn't just a buzzword anymore. It was a demand, a cultural shift, a line in the sand. In a world obsessed with curated perfection, moments like this are crucial. They remind us, urgently, desperately, that imperfection is not failure. Imperfection is humanity. Every wrinkle, every blemish, every asymmetry tells a story of survival, of laughter, of experience, of being alive. And yet, we are taught, over and over again, to hide those stories, to erase them, to pretend they never existed. Khloé's journey mirrors the internal battles many of us face daily. The battle between wanting to present a polished, perfect version of ourselves to the world, and the deeper, aching desire to be loved exactly as we are. The struggle between projection and authenticity, between fantasy and reality. Are we moving toward a future where flaws are celebrated as badges of honor? Where a scar is seen as a triumph, not a flaw? Or will the siren song of perfection always lure us back into its grasp? These are not questions with easy answers. They are the questions at the core of what it means to be human in a digital age. The Photoshop scandal surrounding Khloé in Wonderland is a mirror. A mirror that shows us not just Khloé's edited face, but our own edited lives. The curated Instagram feeds, the Snapchats with filters, the endless parade of altered selfies. We are all, in some ways, both victims and perpetrators of this culture. And until we can collectively embrace imperfection, the cycle will continue. Imagine a world where the word beautiful didn't mean flawless. Imagine a world where beauty was expansive enough to include every shape, every color, every texture, every story. A world where the most celebrated images were the ones that made you feel seen, not lesser. A world where seeing a stretch mark on a billboard didn't cause outrage, but pride. It starts small. It starts with a choice. The choice to post the unfiltered photo. The choice to resist the urge to smooth, to shrink, to erase. The choice to show up, messy and magnificent, in all your flawed glory. Because true beauty, the kind that moves mountains, the kind that changes hearts, has never lived in perfection. It has always lived in truth. What's your take? Are audiences finally done with the era of Photoshop fantasies? Or is this just the beginning of a deeper identity crisis? Will we, as a culture, find the courage to redefine beauty on our own terms? To look in the mirror and see not a list of flaws to be fixed, but a masterpiece already in progress? When did we decide that being human was no longer enough? Somewhere along the way, imperfection became an enemy, and authenticity, a flaw to be corrected. Now, we find ourselves chasing reflections that don't even belong to us. In this silent race toward unattainable beauty, what are we sacrificing? And at what cost? Comment below. Share your story. Your voice matters more than you know. And if this conversation resonates with you, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the myths and realities of pop culture, the illusions we chase, the truths we bury, and the hope that maybe, just maybe, we can create something more real together. Because at the end of the day, the real Wonderland isn't the one where everyone is perfect. It's the one where everyone is real.